Hey, what's up everyone and welcome back. Thanks for stopping by. Rick here again with another video, and today we have some news around Destiny 2 that many of you may already know, but it has a take as well that I think that Bungie needs to take into consideration for what Season of the Dawn could represent and what we could be bringing back into the Destiny community. Ultimately, solar buffs galore. Recently, Bungie announced in their weekly updates that we would be seeing several changes to the solar subclasses for our beloved Guardians. But first off, of course, Bungie mentioned that we're going to be seeing great rallies towards removing the Undying Mind, and we are fighting many different forms through different timelines. But of course, the impact of this victory appears to not have been revealed to us just yet. So this means that Bungie is still pushing along this ever-changing world dynamic that they're building up, and in time I feel that we will see what this means for our universe as we transition into the new Season of Dawn. Sadly, the Undying Mind was a very disappointing end to a great start to the new expansion for Destiny 2 and the new season. So moving on, I'm not going to dive into that, as I'm sure many other people have, but moving on, let's talk about the solar changes with the subclass and kind of some thoughts that, you know, recently on stream we were discussing what Destiny could do going forward and what Season of the Dawn may represent and bring to us, considering we know little to nothing about it. And to kind of grasp us again and bring in some excitement and almost a challenge to Bungie, I guess, at this point. But the most recent updates that will be coming through about the solar changes to the subclasses, Season of Undying artifacts, mostly changed some things around the Arc and Void subclasses with the main focus. So, but in short, I'm not going to get very heavy into this, but in short, for the quick cliff notes, Bottom Tree Solar Hunters will gain now 2 new melee abilities as throwing knives. One will be giving an insta-kill in the PvP area. There should be a decreased damage fall off for Golden Gun distance and increased auto-aim for the 3-shot Golden Gun. Middle Tree Solar Titans, so big hammers, are getting a buff to the Roaring Flame for bonus damage that should last about 25% longer. And then the Throwing Hammer melee ability damage has been increased as well. On top of this, Burning Mauls, the super itself, lasts a lot longer and should have an increased heavy slam blast radius or height, so floating enemies and everything else, you should be able to reach them for further damage. Now, Titans, all we want to do is smash, right? So this should actually be pretty fun for us. And lastly, Top Tree Solar Warlocks, giving an Icarus Dash and Daybreak, which means increased speed and thrust for them. New melee that will send a spiral of 3 explosive solar projectiles, which is pretty cool. And then 2 other things that I actually think is being a pretty good perk for the Warlock on this. A reworked Heat Rises perk, which consumes a grenade to extend glide time and reduce in-air accuracy penalties. And then rework of Winged Sun, which is an airborne final blows grant melee energy and extend the duration of Heat Rises. With an Icarus Dash rework to dodge in midair as well. I think with a tap crouch twice mechanic to enable that. But basically for Warlocks out there, that means that you are a floaty space magic wielding fire wraith at this point. I don't think Bungie wants you to touch the ground. They want you air superiority, and let's roll with it from there. But anyways, as I mentioned in the beginning, there was something that kind of came up in stream, and we were discussing what Bungie could do, and almost like a challenge to Bungie. And I feel it would actually be very exciting if they did something like this. With everything said, with what their focus is around the Season of Dawn and solar and bringing in the light and capturing the sun, basically, I wish they would do something with this main focus of the solar class. Bring back Self-Resurrection. I myself am a Titan main, which is no big deal, and everyone does know that, of course, about me. But in regards to fire teams and energies and the hype status and the memories of running some Nightfalls and raids, self-res was a huge thing, especially in Trials runs as well, which would be very cool, which of course Trials is rumored to be coming back with Season of Dawn. It could be a very big surprise for everyone, but if they brought back self-resurrection, if not for all classes, but maybe at least for one class, like the Warlock, like it was originally, imagine this. Even if it's not the Warlock, imagine running through a trial or a PvP, or running through some sort of dungeon, everything fading down, whatever, or even a golden gun popping out, or the hammer on an anvil sound as a Titan came back from the darkness and resurrected themselves, just as you just see a plebness right here just happened on screen. Imagine the hammer rising from the forge and you're back in action. It wouldn't frustrate the Guardians nearly as much. Of course, solo runs probably a little bit simpler at that time, but I think it would bring back an added aspect of fun and excitement into the gameplay of Destiny. Not saying anything's wrong right now. I'm enjoying Destiny a lot, like way more than I think I probably ever have. But I think this would add another tier to it on top of that fun. To be honest, I mean, I remember long ago in a galaxy far away, of course, where Warlocks in Destiny could channel the fiery energy of whatever sun or however space magic works to instantly bring themselves back to life. But sadly, when Destiny 2 came along, all of these powers went away and our Guardians gained a bunch of new ones. But self-reviving wasn't among them. As I mentioned before in the recent update from Bungie, it said that they are reworking the solar subclasses, or as they called it, investing in solar energy. When I read this, I immediately remembered the times when my fire team was brought back to from the darkness in a last desperation attempt at a Nightfall or a Trials run, or even a dungeon of some sort of raid. I mean, it just any hectic scenario we came across in Destiny 1. But the solar energy that Bungie, of course, was meant to be reserved for flaming swords, anvils, and bullets. Not the sort of space magic that brings people back from the dead, unfortunately. Bungie's original reasoning for removing self-res was because it was very simple. Ultimately, they were claiming that instead of using powers or the aura of the powers to kill enemies faster in a run or reduce cooldowns, people would hold on to the super and sometimes for the entire mission or a PvP match, basically waiting for that best opportunity time slot. And Bungie held the mentality of waiting is not gameplay. So years later, here we are, just without a full super bars or our fellow Guardians to pull us Titans out of the void. What that wonderful gift of a get out of jail free card would have been at this point in time. I think it'd be a nice addition, especially for some fun runs or anything. And of course, we Titans, we break our knuckles, we like to smash and put our head through walls, so we need the assistance every now and then. But of course, all gamers know that, you know, they remember the first time they played a game and then that cheating death was really the core thing you're trying to do. You want to live, you want to survive, and how can I beat death? How can I get around this? So whether it's through a glitch or a cheat code, I mean, Grand Theft Auto Invincibility, anyone? I mean, I remember those long evenings of just messing around and having fun. But in some games, of course, items, you know, can give you a perk of cheating death or resurrecting yourself, or even hidden surprises within the game to come across, but those are very rare to come by. There are several other games that allow us to burn experience for faster resurrection. I think Warframe is one of these that come to mind, which is actually very exciting at that point, especially if you can get frustrated in a match and continue through the mission. But Destiny, I felt they got something right with the abilities given to us by the light in Destiny 1 when we had that. You can die 1,000 times and forget almost all of them, but you will always remember when you spit death in the face and came out guns blazing. I remember back with the fire, back when the fire team was wiping, I remember back in the day, only to witness the resurrection as the screen was fading to black. You're wiping after wipe, and then all of a sudden your friend is there resurrecting, the screen comes back on, and there they are running frantically back to you to try and defeat the boss and cheating death. Just, I will never forget those moments with self-res in Destiny, and I would love to see, even though it may be game breaking, I think it was just an excitement, a rush within Destiny that Bungie provided, and I would like to see it happen again. So please, Bungie, with your focus on light and the fire within Destiny, bring back the times that everyone remembers, the hypeness, if you even want to call it that, in some way going forward. Honestly, for those, it made some of the most memorable moments in Destiny for me and many others. Please, let's look forward to it. I'm very excited to see what you have coming forward. I know all of us Guardians are. I can't wait to see what Season of Dawn brings. Let's keep going. Well, that does it for today's video. If you've enjoyed what you've watched, please hit that like button as it supports me a ton, and subscribe if you haven't already done so for future content. And if you have already subscribed, I friggin' love you, and thank you very much for that. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do the solar changes matter for what's going on? Will you even use the solar class? I'm more of a void or arc kind of guy myself. Will the Dawn bring new life for Destiny? Should they bring back self-res? That's the big question. Would they bring back, should they bring back self-res? And let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm interested in hearing what you think. But once again, my name is Rick. I am your Rictator. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.